This is the engine bay of a 1961 Chevy Impala convertible. Very iconic car. These things are very desirable. This particular guy has power steering, it has power brakes, it has the correct cast iron intake manifold, 2-barrel Rochester carburetor on it, the correct single snorkel air cleaner that this guy was released with, a 7-blade fixed fan, and it has the correct complete circumferential fan shroud that this guy would have come with in 1961. The correct style radiator also, and the hoses top and bottom are the correct style hoses also. It does have a modern air conditioning compressor on it. It's a vintage air style air conditioning compressor. I don't know if the car actually came with there or it was added at some point, but at any rate, it does have air conditioning that's functional and a updated air conditioning compressor instead of that great big cast iron guy that was on there. New interstate battery on it. There's no marks on the front part of the air conditioning condenser. The radiator core support has absolutely no distortion whatsoever to it, dictating that it has never had any front end trauma whatsoever. Washer bottle still intact and clipped on. Washer reservoir on the firewall just where it should be. Someone's added a radiator overflow reservoir here. Nice addition to have too, and it's tucked on there. It's a billet aluminum one so that you don't have any drips on the ground from antifreeze. It's a very original looking engine compartment. It has its original style cast iron exhaust manifolds on it in addition to that intake. Everything on this thing, it even has the original carburetor with the heat riser tube that goes to it. Everything on this thing is hooked up and functional as it was in 1971. Heater still going also to the passenger compartment to team up with the air conditioning that you have, so no matter where this car goes, it's got air if it's in the south and it's got heat if it's in the north. That's a very impressive engine compartment, very well done. Everything is as it was in 1961, semi-flat black inner fender panels. The firewall is nice. It has a lot of nice originality to it. Nice clean, another great addition. Dual stage master cylinder, just notice that. Instead of a single stage, this guy has a dual stage, so you have a lot of safety involved in that. The alternator has been replaced. It is a brand new alternator. You can see that. All the belts are nice and fresh and new. There's not a single thing on this vehicle under the hood that we can say anything negative about it. It even has the original style felt hood insulation that would have come in 1961, and if you notice, it's still nice and clean instead of being all crapped up through the years. Semi-flat black underneath the hood, again, just the way it should be. Great looking engine compartment. We'll go around the rest of it for you. Hi, today we're going to present a 1961 Chevy Impala convertible. And this guy is very, very special. It's a great looking car. The paint on it is tough to see because it's white, but it is certainly above a driver quality paint job, approaching that of a show quality job. It's very, very nicely done. You can see the fitment of the hood up to the cowl area, down to the fender on each side. Everything lines up absolutely as it should. The same thing with the hood and the front fenders, Chevrolet across the front, no patina on the Chevrolet emblems. Of course, we got our Chevy emblem in the front with absolutely as new anodized aluminum grille that came with this. The headlight surrounds are the same way. There's no deterioration in the anodization of this thing at all. Guess what? It has an optional bumper guard and bumper bar with it. It really makes this bumper look dramatic from the front. I mean, it's a very, very nice addition to this car. It was an option in 1961, and this guy has it. Bumper has no marks whatsoever. The valance underneath the bumper and your bumperettes you can see are the same way. Very high quality, no marks, no dings, no chips. Absolutely as precise as you could have. Fender mounted little decals here, these little emblem pieces on the front, very sharp. You got to watch when you're washing these guys because it doesn't take much to cut your hand on the tip of these things. The molding down the side of it, just as straight and nice as can possibly be, and you'll see as we go down, it has a red inset in it, the paint accent. Tires and wheels are the 14-inch ones that came with the car. It has the wide whites the way it would have been in 1961, and you can see the fender to the door, to the hood, to the cowl area, everything lines up as it should. All your stainless appointments around the windshield, finely polished, just the way you would hope they would be. Correct wiper arms, incorrect blades, a little bit more of a modern blade on it, but not modern like a Trico blade or anything. Dashboard where it transitions to the windshield, just as nice and fresh as you'd ever hope to find. Dash pad the same way, there's no deterioration whatsoever on it. A Chevy embossed mirror for the driver's door. The chrome that's usually deteriorated on these guys around the wing area is spot on. There's not a single defect in it, absolutely none. Door gap in the front, absolutely spot on. Same thing on the back here. Check this out for a convertible too. Brand new convertible top, you can see that. But check this out. Look at the window surrounds. This is chrome and it's usually deteriorated, but even over that, look at the fitment of the window to the convertible top. There's not a single place where it hasn't been fit absolutely precise. No patina whatsoever on the door handle. Inside the doors, you can see all the rubbers are nice and fresh and clean. Door striker, everything on this car is just the way it was in 1961. Molded armrests the way they would be. The door panels are also molded with this accent through the center, aluminum type accent through the center. You can see the VIN tag, very nice and legible and still on its original rivets. Also, when you look inside the door, you can see how precisely this car has been addressed. It has everything just the way it was had it been a new car in 61. Correct style steering wheel for 1961 for an Impala. You can see the gauge, all the bright work is nice and clean. Air conditioning unit underneath the dash. The seats themselves are the correct style vinyl seats that came with this car. Carpeting nice and fresh. There's no deterioration or no sun bleach or anything on anything. The vinyl seats or the carpeting itself. Seat belts front and rear in this guy. They didn't come with them, but somebody's added them. It's a good safety item to have at this point in time. Geez, I mean, everything on this car just reeked quality, everything. No overspray on any of your latches inside the door or on the quarter panels. Everything is nice and clean the way it should be. The sill plate, nice and fresh looking, no scratches or marks whatsoever on it. Look at this. When's the last time you saw a door shut like that? That's just a great looking combination there. The rocker panel moldings, there's no kick marks on them. There's no scuffs or marks, anything whatsoever on the car. Going down the rest of it, the quarter panel, you can see how long this car is. It does have a set of optional fender skirts on it. They clip off and on. If you want it to have a little racier look instead of a lower look, take the skirts off, put them in the trunk. This was an option on the car, this little trim piece to keep you from chipping the paint whenever you filled the, and even the gas door. Look at this, everything is precisely done. Everything to the nth degree. Chevy Impala. Flags the way it was, an Impala designation. Clean back window, nicely stretched too, very taut. There's no ripples or marks or anything in it, and it has a lot of clarity. The boot is just folded over. Devin just threw it down there, but he did have the top down, which you'll see pictures of this car with the top down. Going around the back, you can see this accent stripe down the side of the car terminates into a piece that goes across the back end of the car. Very nicely done. The rear of this car, the deck, fits just like the hood did. Absolute precision fitment. Look, it doesn't get any better than that. This is just as nice as it can be. Single mast antenna in the back. A lot of guys had two of them, but this one has a single mast antenna in it. SS Impala designation on the back. You got your three tail lights just the way they were. You got bumperettes in the back to coincide with your bumper bar in the front, which was also an option on this guy. The exhaust tips turned down underneath the bumper, and the valance, you can see that the bumperettes, the bumper extensions down below the bumper go on to the rear valance. There's no marks or chips or pull marks or anything in it. This anodized aluminum across all 6 of these lamps is just as fresh as the day it was made. And again, look at the fitment of this guy. Look, it just doesn't get any better than that. That's precision. You open the trunk, just to give you an idea of the degree of restoration that was done on this car. It even has the correct style painted wheel with the white wall tire that goes with it. And if you look, everything on this car just reeks quality. Everything has been done to the nth degree. It even has its corrugate type insulation in the deck lid. Everything is spot on. There's not one thing that we went across so far that you can call a negative to. Okay, on the passenger side, same thing, our accent stripe continuing on. It gets wide in the back, narrower toward the front. Fender skirts, Again, if you don't like them, take them off, put them in the trunk. If you just decide you like them better with them on, put them back on. Again, the top is new. You can see that across everything. Window fitment on this side is as it was on the other side. There's not a single imperfection in fitment on this car. Look at this. And these usually are, believe me, these are usually deteriorated very badly with age. This is not. Tinted glass in the front window, I neglected to mention, and tinted glass in the side windows also. Door edge guard, original GM type stainless guard, not the one that you put on from Walmart with plastic on it. This is the actual guard that belongs on it. Again, you can see the interior from this side a little bit better. Devin's going to give you a lot of high resolution photos of every aspect of this car. But as you're looking at it now, he's panning it and showing you that the interior is absolutely precise. This is the way it was in 1961, and that's the way it is for you when you purchase this car today. No wear whatsoever. Absolutely none. Look at that. Okay, right-hand mirror, great addition. Again, no patina on this side either. Everything is as it was when it was new. Our door fitment, rear and front, precise fitment, fender to hood to cowl. Look at that gap. And correct wheel hubcaps on it also. I neglected to mention that it does have the correct 1961 hubcaps that came with this car. This you got to be careful of when you're washing this car. You can definitely lay your hand open on the tip of this guy, and I don't know why they made him that way, but they did, and that's originality. This is a very iconic car. It's a 1961 Chevy Impala convertible. Not just a hardtop, a bubble top, but this guy's a convertible. And it has all the amenities that you'd want. It has air conditioning, it has power steering, it has power brakes, it has tinted glass in it, it has dual mirrors on it. You can't find a better color combination than this. You've got white with red, unless you want red with white. That's about the only thing that would be equal to this as far as desirability goes. We just went around this car. You just watched Devin and I go around it, and it's got to be 110 inside here now, and I know it's going to get warmer when we walk outside too to do the drive. We just went around this car, and we didn't find a single mark, a scuff, a misfit panel, a window that didn't line up, a wrinkle in the convertible top. There's nothing. This car is a very, very high-end, iconic 1961 Chevy Impala convertible. And it's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we really encourage everyone to come down and drive these cars in person. That way you know exactly what you're buying when you get these cars. But if you can't, that's why Devin's going to spend the time and compile all the data that we're generating on this vehicle so that you can see it on the Hanksters website. And I encourage you to take a look at it, because this is a car that you really need to take a look at if you're in for an early 60s Chevy convertible. Fantastic car. Okay, this is the underside of our 61 Impala convertible, white with a red stripe and a red interior in it. Great looking car. You can see the power steering assembly is all new. It's a slave type cylinder, the same type they used on the Corvettes at that point in time. No leaks whatsoever on it. Newer springs, newer shocks on the vehicle. It has drum brakes in the front, conventional exhaust coming off the ram horn cast iron manifolds into, I'm going to call them 2-inch primary pipes going back to 2 outboard mufflers. That's the way they did it on these guys. They used an X-style frame. So instead of trying to jam it in here, which would be impossible, they put the muffler on the outside of the frame. And that's the way this guy is. So it does have a dual exhaust system. The frame itself is a complete perimeter box frame on it. This thing is incredibly strong. And it's also an X-type frame. So not only did they give it structural rigidity lengthwise, they gave it torsional rigidity sidewise. So it has an X frame, which is even. You'll see it's got 1/4-inch plate here that for the convertibles that tied all this together and made it incredibly strong. Really, really a well done, well engineered system. The brake lines appear to be replacements. The parking brake is still hooked up and functional. The engine is a 283 style that came with this car. Donnie will let you know if it has the correct numbers or the casting number on it so that you can research that yourself. Cooling lines for the transmission still go forward to the radiator, conventional starter on it. No leaks on the engine, the bell housing area, or the transmission and tail shaft at this point. That doesn't mean somewhere down the line you're not going to see a little drip of oil here or there, because you probably are. It's a muscle car, but at this point it's dry. Okay, going back through here, the floor pans. Now remember, this car's 60 years old. This guy's 60 years old now. And the floor pans have been replaced on it, but very professionally done, and you can see that they are the correct style floor pans with the correct ribbing and structural support on it that they came with from the factory. All your cross bracing and all your original structural parts on the floor pans is back and original as it was in 1961. I'm going to call these guys, I'll call these 2-inch also, you know, going out of the mufflers toward the rear of the car. The car does have seat belts installed in it. You can see the cadmium plated washers, big washers on the back side of the floor pans here that tell you that the belts are put on correctly. So they are going to have a good anchor. Even the front one's the same way. Conventional pumpkin type rear end. I don't know what the ring gear size is on these guys. Brakes in the back are drums also, and they are brand new. They're still shiny yet. Swing arm rear suspension, pan hard rod. You can see traveling from one side to the other. New shocks in the rear. Someone has added an aftermarket sway bar to this. It would be a great addition to the suspension on this car. New springs in the back also. They're still shiny and black. Fresh round of rubber on it. You can see front and back tires are all real thick and fat. Frame in the back where it transitions up over the rear differential and goes to the back. There's no indications of any bends or marks or absolutely nothing through the years. And of course, you're not going to find on a frame of this quality, you're not going to find any marks on it from jack marks, simply because it's just so strong that you just couldn't do it. There'd be no way to put an indenture in it. Drop downs in the quarter panels appear to have originality to them. They still have the drain plugs the way they were. And a new, I'm going to call it stainless steel because that's what it looks like to me, but it has a new gas tank in it and also new bands holding the tank in. This is original. This is the well in the trunk where the spare tire resides. And you can see that it does have all the originality. A little tiny mark here from something probably pulling it on a rack through the years for an oil change. But this thing is exemplary underneath. You just cannot find a car any better quality than this. Devin's going to show you a lot of pictures of the undercarriage so that you can see the quality that you have in a vehicle like this. And remember, this guy's 60 years old. This isn't a new Toyota or Porsche or anything. This thing is a 60-year-old piece of Detroit engineering, and it is absolutely depicted as the finest piece of merchandise that you could buy in 1961. Take a look at it. This is Hangsters. You'll like this one. Okay, this is the inside of our 61 Impala convertible. Check this out. Wing windows. Huh? Pretty neat, huh? Door handles, everything, all the brightware, your window cranks, everything is just as nice and fresh as can be. A little tiny bit of wear on the red paint on the steering wheel. But good news is no cracks, no separations, no checking whatsoever on it. Dashboard's nice and clean. All your anodized aluminum on your glove compartment and your dash face itself is all nice and fresh and clean, just the way it should be. Jeff gave us 3/4 of a tank of gas to go play with. Clock is not working and we don't care. Temperature gauge is just starting to come up. We just lit this thing up a few minutes ago. Horn, let's see, horn. Horn is working as it should. Turn signal left, beating itself to death over here, and the one on the right following suit. Right there it is. See it? Okay, radio, let's see. About that, we got a radio that works. Radio works, air conditioning is on. We have to have it on because it's about 150 out here today. And Devin and I just put this on, just we normally don't, but today we have to. Windshield wipers are not functioning. We've got to figure out why those guys aren't working. But other than that, everything functions as it should in the car. So we're going to go for a ride and see what we can show you here. Nice running car. It goes down the road. Let's see here. Tires are a little bit out of balance, but it does go down the road straight as an arrow. It can't go any straighter than it does. Let's try brakes now and see how that works. Power brakes really work well, and it does stop straight. It does stop straight. So, I have a little tiny bit of imbalance in the tires. They could even be flat spots from the car sitting for an extended period of time. It's actually starting to smooth out right now. So it might be just flat spots on the tires. But other than that, this thing goes down the road straight as can be. Steering response is very nice on it. It has a lot of steering input. Speedometer is working as it should. We're up about 50-something mile an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone, 35-mile-an-hour zone. But the car is just as straight and nice running a vehicle as you could ever hope to find. It is a very, very nice car. Very nice. Nice running car. It's got ample power to pull itself along, no problem at all. It managed to do it somehow for the last 60 years. Just a really nice straight running car, and it is smoothing out now that these tires had a chance to roll around for a while. And again, look how straight the car runs. Just nice as can be. Steering response is really impressive in this car for an old slave cylinder power steering system. This thing is nice and tight as can be. Steering wheel's nice and straight in it, everything's nice and linear. This is a nice running car. If somebody's in the market for an early 60s, especially 61, very iconic car. Everybody loved these cars. They liked the body style. It was 1 year only, And it's a very desirable piece of Detroit engineering, and it's something that you get a chance, you should take a look at on your Hankster's website. It's here in Daytona Beach, and I don't know for how long. Summer's coming. Summer's here. It's about 150 out here today, and somebody's going to grab this baby. This is a very nice car.